Your eyes are not deceiving you. The price you're seeing on this screen right up here for Bitcoin is below $110,000, which might be shocking to some people because if you take a peek at the Bitcoin chart, just a few short weeks ago, in fact, 2 weeks ago, we were at an all-time high of $125,000, and we are now below $110K. What is going on in the crypto space? Why is Bitcoin falling? And why has Ethereum also found this level of resistance that you can see here after taking a new high? It too is finding a level of resistance. Let's talk about what's going on here, guys, and this urgent crypto update. Welcome back to the Crypto Report. I'm Crypto Kip. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. If you're scared about the volatility today, I am not. And I am not a financial advisor, guys. I'm not here to give financial advice, but I am calm, cool, and collect. In fact, this projection for Ethereum is something that we predicted. I predicted it because I could clearly see there is going to be a level of resistance based on the previous highs. You typically just don't see things break through. You either see it go up, test and reject, or break through and have a bullish retest. Well, we have rejected ahead of actually taking weekly candles to a new high for ETH, and Bitcoin has also not been able to take a weekly candle close above this very apparent blue trend line, just going off of our previous highs and the high we had earlier in 2024, back in November and then January 2025. So why is Bitcoin doing this? One, clear levels of resistance for Ethereum and for Bitcoin. And as you see these levels of resistance, my friends, there are trading opportunities in these markets. If you want to trade, take advantage of the moves on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, as you see them, finding a level of support or resistance for yourself. As you dig into these markets, you can sign up for Blowfin or Bit10x using the link in the description down below. There are sign-up bonuses for you guys there if you haven't taken advantage of them. There is so much volatility in this market. Over the last 24 hours, we've seen $500 million wiped out. Actually, I'm sorry. That's not actually true. We've seen $800 million worth of longs liquidated. That is why we are having a sell-off. There's a huge liquidation going on for the long traders right now. Why? Because everybody saw these highs being taken by Bitcoin, by Ethereum. We know that we're going up into Q4, which is the historic most bullish time for cryptocurrency. When it comes to crypto, just look at the averages. The numbers do not lie. Bitcoin's quarterly percentage returns, 85% average for Bitcoin in Q4 versus Q1, which is the second biggest, 51%. It is a much bigger month than every other time. Q4 is the biggest. No, October, November, and December are the best. October, literally people call it Uptober. And we all know this is coming. So why are we rejecting? Because September is also a historically bearish month. Now, we see a lot of very bullish things going on in the crypto space right now. There are so many narratives out there. Just earlier today, we saw a news story before this big collapse happened from last night and way early this morning that David Sachs, the president's crypto advisor, came out and said that Bitcoin is not going to have a bear market over the next several years. That is some of the more bullish predictions that lead me to believe that maybe we're due for a pullback. When you see this very language get brought out ahead of what is historically a bearish month, September coming up, it's very suspicious. It's very convenient timing, I guess you could say. September has a average of negative 3% moves on average, and that is something, as we're seeing new highs taken for these cryptos and the longs getting wiped out, that could very well be on the table again. Now, there's a chance that September does end up green, but I did call personally for a potential dip in or leading into September. I believe that there's going to be one more capitulation event. This could be the very beginning of it. This could be the worst of it. $110,000 for Bitcoin is a very key psychological level, and we have just lost that over the last few hours. Now, there's a chance that we rise back up and we're just wicking below 110, or let's take a peek at the chart. There's a chance as well that we might see Bitcoin retest some other levels. What might be some other levels? Well, certainly where we bounced back in June, maybe on the bottom of this red candle, we get a bounce at $99,000. That is possible. It is also possible that we go retest the highs of these weekly candles from December of 2024 at 104, 105K. 104,500, right at the high of these weekly candles from December, is my first stopping point here for Bitcoin. Because if we don't stop here at 110, 104.5 is something I'm looking at. Below that, 99K. And below that, we are potentially looking at $91,000. I'm going to have a hard time talking about any prices below $91,000 before the end of this bull market. Personally, is it possible? It certainly is. But I am a crypto bull. I believe that there are a lot higher prices yet to come for Bitcoin and altcoins especially, for a few reasons. We've already seen Bitcoin dominance start to fall. We've seen Ethereum start to rise, but we haven't seen that true altcoin season yet. One prediction that I've put out is that not only Bitcoin might reject off these highs and retest down to the $99,000 or $110,000 price level, we might also see Ethereum reject off these previous highs, and that's exactly happening right now. I'm looking out for a bounce for Ethereum around $4,000. That's something to keep an eye on as well. I want to show you guys Bitcoin dominance as well, because I do think that's very important to look at. There it is right there. Bitcoin dominance right now has been falling. It's showing a little bit of recovery. If Bitcoin decides to slip lower and go to the $99,000 or the $91,000 price level, which is possible, you would see Bitcoin dominance get a bounce, and you would see Ethereum bleed very heavily, maybe even going down below this $4,000 price level. After that move occurred, and we go into October, as people like to call it, and we go into November and maybe even into December, that would be the moment where I expect the best part of this bull cycle to be, not just for Bitcoin, but, well, actually, not so much for Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's biggest percentage gains have already kind of happened for this cycle. But Bitcoin will find higher prices, I think, personally, and I believe that Ethereum should find much higher prices, and altcoins at that point would be exploding. But we are losing some levels. Like XRP is right now losing a range. XRP in the meantime might come back down to $2. This is a level that I've been looking at for a while. This is very possible. Why? Because here's a wedge going on for XRP. If it breaks out of the range, boom, back down to $2.08. These are very achievable levels, guys. There's a ton of volatility in this space. And so whether you're an XRP or a Dogecoin or a Ethereum or a Bitcoin holder, there are opportunities to trade this market. If you want to sign up for Blowfin, check out the affiliates in the description down below for Blowfin, for Bit10X. Take advantage of the sign-up bonuses. Why was Bitcoin dipping today? Because there's clear levels of resistance for Bitcoin, for Ethereum. And we're seeing a Fed rate cut come, yes, but that got priced in rather quickly, and now the greed is creeping in. Liquidations are happening as we're facing highs, resistance. It's all very, very apparent to me as we're leading into September that this all kind of fits into the narrative. Once those Fed rate cuts come, after that, that would be the time where I would start expecting us to really climb into September, October, November, and maybe into December. September could be iffy. Again, it's typically a bearish month, but maybe we have a dip in September and find a recovery towards the end of it and just end green. It's kind of what's going through my mind right now. I'm not a financial advisor, guys. Do your own research. Nothing here is financial advice, but we'll keep the content coming. I want to give you guys this urgent crypto warning in this quick update today. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel, DCA Hodl, my friends. I'll see you in the next one. 2 videos here if you want to check them out. Peace, y'all.